Welcome to our video. Your grocery list might look different. Blame Trump's tariff changes. Today, we'll explore how recent tariff shifts are impacting prices at your local grocery store, leading to unexpected increases in the cost of everyday items. From soaring produce prices and shocking meat costs to the challenges faced by dairy products, we'll break down the reasons behind these changes and examine how they're reshaping our shopping habits. Join us as we navigate the complex landscape of food prices, supply chain issues, and the growing preference for local produce in a world altered by policy and political uncertainty. 1. Tariff shocks at the checkout. Imagine walking into your local grocery store and suddenly realizing that your favorite items cost more than you expected. This isn't just inflation or a fluke. It's a direct result of tariff changes made during the Trump administration. Starting in 2018, new tariffs were slapped on hundreds of everyday products, especially those imported from China, Mexico, Canada, and the European Union. The intention was to protect American industries, but the fallout reached everyday shoppers. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, food prices surged by 3.5% in 2021, a jump that most experts link directly to these tariffs. It wasn't just exotic imports that went up in price. Basic staples like bread, cereal, and canned goods also saw increases. For families on a tight budget, these changes meant rethinking what goes in the shopping cart. The effect has been both immediate and, for many, deeply frustrating. 2. Rising produce costs. A new reality. The produce aisle used to offer an affordable way to fill your plate with colorful, healthy options. However, after the tariffs were enacted, the cost of many fruits and vegetables shot up. For example, avocados from Mexico became noticeably pricier, with average prices rising over 20% in a single year. Tomatoes, peppers, and even apples saw increases, especially when imports were heavily taxed. The USDA reported that disruptions in supply chains, combined with tariffs, pushed up transportation and storage costs for fresh produce. These changes forced shoppers to adjust, sometimes swapping out favorite fruits for less expensive, often less nutritious, alternatives. For many families, the dream of a diet rich in fresh produce became harder to afford. It's a classic case of global politics hitting home in the most personal way. 3. Meat and poultry. Sticker shock in the meat section. And few items on the grocery list stir as much debate as the price of steak or chicken. The Trump tariffs didn't just target finished meat products but also hit the materials and equipment needed to process and package them, especially steel and aluminum. This added extra costs that meat producers passed right on to consumers. The USDA noted beef prices jumping by 10% and pork by 12% in 2021, numbers that left many shoppers stunned. Tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico meant that even American burgers and bacon weren't immune. Shoppers found themselves looking for deals, buying in bulk, or just eating less meat altogether. The dinner table conversation shifted from recipes to price comparisons, a sign of just how pervasive the impact has been. 4. Dairy dilemmas. Milk, cheese, and tariff fallout. Milk, cheese, and yogurt are staples for many American households, but tariffs threw the dairy industry into turmoil. When Europe and Canada retaliated with tariffs of their own, American dairy exporters lost key markets. This left a glut of milk and dairy products in the U.S., driving down the price of milk but oddly pushing cheese prices higher due to increased production and storage costs. The National Milk Producers Federation reported ongoing struggles for dairy farmers, with many facing bankruptcy. Supermarket shelves started to show higher prices for cheese and yogurt, even as milk deals appeared more frequently. Consumers found themselves having to choose between quality and price, often opting for store brands or smaller quantities. The dairy crisis became a symbol of how interconnected and fragile our food system really is. 5. Supply chain chaos intensifies price hikes. Tariffs didn't just make things more expensive, they also made them harder to find. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed just how vulnerable global supply chains had become, and tariffs only added to the confusion. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, 2021 saw sharp disruptions in the movement of food, with empty shelves and delayed shipments becoming the norm. Grocery stores struggled to keep up with demand, especially for items like canned vegetables and frozen foods. Shoppers often had to visit multiple stores or settle for substitutes when their preferred brands were missing. The added costs of tariffs and the logistical headaches meant that even when products were available, they were often more expensive. This perfect storm of challenges reshaped how Americans shop for food. 6. How shopping habits have changed. With every trip to the grocery store feeling more expensive, Americans have started to change how they shop. According to the Consumer Brands Association, 70% of shoppers say they've changed their habits due to higher food prices. This includes buying more store brands, hunting for sales, and planning meals more carefully to stretch every dollar. Bulk buying has become more common, as has online grocery ordering, where price comparisons are easier. Shoppers are also cutting back on impulse buys and sticking to strict lists. For many, shopping has shifted from an enjoyable routine to a stressful exercise in budgeting. The emotional toll is real, with many families having to compromise on nutrition or variety just to make ends meet. 7. Imported goods. A growing dilemma. Imported foods used to offer exciting options and sometimes even better prices, but tariffs have flipped the dynamic. With new taxes on imports, products like olive oil from Italy, cheese from France, and seafood from Asia now often come with much higher price tags. According to USDA data, the average cost of imported specialty foods went up by 15% between 2019 and 2021. Some shoppers have responded by seeking out American-made alternatives, while others have simply cut these items from their lists. This shift has been particularly hard on people who rely on specialty diets or enjoy international cuisine. The once global aisles of the grocery store now feel a bit smaller and less diverse. 8. Local food gains popularity. As imported goods get pricier, local food systems have seen a resurgence. Farmers markets, community-supported agriculture, CSA, programs, and local grocers have benefited from shoppers looking for fresher, sometimes more affordable, options. The USDA has found that local food sales have grown steadily since 2018, reversing previous declines. Shoppers cite freshness, lower prices, and a desire to support local farmers as key reasons for the shift. This trend has also encouraged a new appreciation for seasonal eating, as people adapt their diets to what's available locally. For many, the move toward local food is both a practical and emotional response to global uncertainty. It's a way to regain some control over what goes on the family table. 9. Policy moves and political uncertainty. The future of food prices remains closely tied to political decisions in Washington and beyond. The Biden administration has made some moves to review and adjust tariffs, but many remain in place or have only been partially lifted. Advocacy groups are pushing for policies that will make food more affordable and secure for all Americans. According to the American Farm Bureau Federation, ongoing trade negotiations with China and other countries will play a major role in shaping future prices. Every policy decision around tariffs sends ripples through the food industry, affecting farmers, retailers, and shoppers alike. For now, uncertainty is the only constant, leaving many to wonder when, or if, relief will come. Shoppers are advised to keep an eye on the news, as changes in trade policy could quickly alter what's available and how much it costs. 10. Everyday choices in a changed grocery world. Every shopping trip now feels like a test of flexibility and resourcefulness. With prices rising on everything from meat to produce to imported treats, families have had to become more creative. Some are cooking more meals from scratch, stretching leftovers further, or exploring new recipes based on what's affordable. Others are forming co-ops to buy in bulk or swapping tips on social media for where to find the best deals. Grocery shopping, once a routine chore, has become a reflection of broader economic and political forces. The list of what's normal to buy has changed, and so has the experience of putting food on the table. The story of tariffs isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about how everyday Americans live, eat, and adapt.